Howdy there. So a couple of days ago, I saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes for the second time, and I really enjoyed it. I will stand by my rating of an 8. I think it's a great 8. It's about chimpanzees and apes through experimentation trying to cure Alzheimer's. The chimp's brain advances extraordinarily, almost to, free human thinking thought. And while it enhances the minds and brains of apes, it degrades those of humans, eventually. So this is about, a son trying to save his father, and then inadvertently destroying the world. Stars James Franco. What's that girl's name? Frida Pinto. Andy Serkis is responsible for the performance of Caesar, the head chimp. Who else is in there? Anyone else? John Lithgow is in there. Yeah, those are the names that pop out. Oh, Brian Cox. Again, this is my second review. I don't want to, hit too much. I really enjoyed it. I think it's tied for my favorite summer blockbuster along with Thor. Thor really appealed to the comic book geek in me, and Rise of the Planet of the Apes really appeals to the film geek in me, because I think it honors, the original Planet of the Apes was from the 1970s, and I think it really honors the filmmaking traditions of the 1970s, including the cheese, the style. I think that it pays a certain amount of honor to the films that has come before it. So I think anything that shows respect deserves respect. I found it interesting, and if you've seen my first review, I was trying to think of a point I wanted to make. And that point is how interesting I thought it was, because recently I watched Project Nim. Project Nim is a documentary about a chimp raised as a human and taught sign language. Therefore, condemning him to a life of solitude, loneliness, a sense of never belonging. And then, a few days later, I see this movie, and they, in parts, mirrored each other. And I found that to be very interesting. So if you have the opportunity, when they are both out on disc, to watch Project Nim and watch Rise of the Planet of the Apes near each other, watch them kind of together, and I think that will enhance the experience for both films. So I thought that was quite interesting, how two films kind of dealing with the same subject matter in two wildly different fashions, and both succeed. I thought that was, cool. So check, that out. Try and do that. Double feature. The things I did not enjoy about Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, basically, you could just tell that they're setting up for sequels, and then just kind of the one-note character performances. Frida Pinto is one of the most beautiful women in the world. She's gorgeous. I felt that they hired her because we would remember that she was in the film, because her character is very forgettable. She plays the wife of James Franco, the eventual wife, and she just pretty much has to, her character almost disappears. She has something to do at the beginning, but then she just kind of fades into being morose and just really one note, just honestly window dressing. So it's good that they got the best window dressing available. Again, she's absolutely stunning, but she doesn't have much to do. And if it weren't one of the most beautiful women in the world, then you would probably forget that that character was even in the film. Brian Cox. Brian Cox is a terrific actor. He's been working for a long, long time. In this film, he doesn't really even make more than one or two facial expressions. He's there to deliver a one-note performance. And I think, why would you get someone of Brian Cox's caliber and have him do very, very little? And all I can think of is that he will be much more used in the sequel or something to show some growth in his character. But really, he has not much to do. And again, seriously, like, his facial expression only changes a couple times. And I think I heard correctly that one of the people who works for him, I think it's Draco Malfoy. I don't know his real name, but I'm almost positive it's Draco Malfoy from the Harry Potter series is in this. And I think he's his son. He's Brian Cox's son. I think he says dad at one point. And, I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but bad things happen to him. And he does not react like a father would. So, again, maybe I misheard that or something. But, again, I was, disappointed in that. I was also, this time, confused by the span of time that passes at the beginning of the film. We see very quickly, it says like 3 years later, and then we watch a little of the film. And then a little bit after that, it says 5 years later. So instantly right there, I'm wondering, so from the beginning of the film, is it 8 years later, or is it 5 years later? Are we supposed to add 5 and 3 together, or is it just 5 years from the inciting incident? That I'm not sure. In fact, I found it confusing. One, because it seems that over 5 years, Caesar would get over some type of jealousy. Also, I thought that they would have at some point explained more to Caesar what had happened to him, but then I guess we wouldn't get to see that. So again, it starts off with the 3 years later, 5 years later, and I'm like, okay. But the positives far, far, far outweigh the negatives. It's wonderfully directed. I can't remember his name. I want to say Nispel. I'm not sure. It's directed very well, very eloquently. All of the action is captured perfectly. Everything is fluid. Everything flows amazingly well. Even though there is a lot of action going on, in fact, it ends with a mass battle sequence, you're never confused. You understand exactly what's going on. You see everything that you need to see, and everything is incredibly exciting. So I think it was very well directed. Now, I don't know his name or what else he's done, but I hope we see more from him. I hope when they do sequelize this that, because the amount of money it's making, there's just no doubt. It's going to get a sequel, and I hope that he's given the sequel. What else? I just, some of the the scenes where Caesar is swinging through the trees, even when he's getting around his house, the way it's choreographed is beautiful. And again, it's well captured by the camera. All the special effects are amazing. All of, like, the main apes, they get top billing in the cast. But all of the main apes in the film are portrayed by men in motion capture suits. I think it's you know, wonderful. I think, you know, we've got to, if this is going to become more prevalent, then we need some type of category to recognize these actors, because what they're doing is outstanding. I think it's fantastic. I see it as even more of a performance than maybe James Franco gave in this. So I think Andy Serkis and the rest of the motion capture ape team, they deserve, you know, the praise for this film. I thought they were scene stealers, you know, watching Caesar take over things in prison, you know, was really cool. Was really cool. And fresh and original. You know, so that it was good. You know, it was good. Again, I don't really know what else to say about it. It was, you know, one of the better movies of the summer, I thought. Action-packed, fun, funny, touching, makes you think. Just really, it had the full package going. But again, I thought it, just as a detractor, thought that it could have paid more attention to some of its apparently more important characters, but perhaps it will rectify itself in the sequel. Perhaps they will take center stage. So that's pretty much all I got to say about that. That's the second time I've seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and I got no problems giving it an 8. Good movie. Thanks.